I took care of my mother and my father. They had a social life because of me. I take them vacationing, and all my brothers do is go and get high. And we wouldn't even be here.
I'm just trying to figure out in my own mind,
and then moved it back.
if I agreed with you and I gave you the money that you wanted, and then the judge finds that she owned it from the very beginning because of some allegation, maybe not all the ones that she did. And then our ruling would be unfair, because if she owns this property, she has the right to move the boats.
But she doesn't, though.
I know that, but that hasn't been decided. Judge.
Ms. Arellano brought up a good point, Ms. Castro. Why not just move the vehicles off the property temporarily and then move them back? Why not do that?
Why didn't they do that?
Exactly. That's the $1 million question.
Did anybody ask Mr. Flores? Mr. Flores, I know you had a trailer that was on the property as well. Did anybody reach out to him? I know you said you reached out to your nephew.
Why didn't he reach out to me?
I didn't even know
Hold on.
I didn't even know he was an owner.
Wait. So,
I
Mr.
had
Flores,
no
how did
idea.
your trailer end up on the property?
Originally, Joey actually asked to use the trailer when he split up with his ex because he needed to get a last stuff out of a storage unit that he was using, and he said if he could use it and borrow it there. I said if I could store it there, he can use it.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, we're going to excuse the parties, and we will deliberate on this matter. Thank you both very much.
And this is just really about, for me, who owned the property when the trailers and the boat were towed away. And just because there's pending litigation about who owns the property, who owned the property that day, who actually has their name listed in this deed, is the plaintiff. So I'm inclined to actually give her the fees for the towing and the impound. Michael, I know you're looking like, okay, listen.
No.
Michael's not feeling me, because Michael's like,
I'm keeping an open mind. I want to hear what Judge...
I have to tell you,
I put my mind out there. I want to hear what you have to say.
a very different take on this case.
Really?
I'm not as concerned definitively with who was the owner of the property at the time.
Okay.
Clearly, the person who was living on the property with the owner's consent at the time was Robert. He had use and possession of the property regardless of who the owner was, because Ms. Arellano said that she had tried to evict him at some point, but then she withdrew the eviction proceedings. So he was effectively living on her property with her consent.
But the plaintiff specifically said, don't touch the boat, don't touch the trailers.
I understand, but I think the plaintiffs may be suing the wrong person here. Both Ms. Castro and Robert said that Robert was the one that had the vehicles towed, and he was the one that had been living on that property.
Well, if I were the judge sitting in the Superior Court where this case is pending, and I was required to make a determination as to who owned the property on a specific date, I wouldn't be bound by any determination that we made on the basis of this record that the plaintiff owned the property. So then what effectiveness, if any, would our verdict be if we would decide that the plaintiff should get a penny in this jurisdiction? I'm not saying she's not entitled to the money. I'm simply saying that I cannot find my way clear to say that this is the wrong jurisdiction, that this issue of ownership and the consequences of it with respect to property on the subject property is intertwined inextricably with the decision the Superior Court judge is going to have to make as to the ownership of the property. And if they win in the case, then it's crystal clear that they should pay them for the damages. But if the defendant wins and we charge her $3,000, whatever she's asking for, and it turned out that she, being the daughter, had a right to the property, then we've done a disservice to the defendant.
So we should hold off.
So we should dismiss without
though,
prejudice. Dismissed without prejudice.
I'll tell you, I don't even have to get there, because in my mind, Robert was the one who was on the property.
I don't believe it.
Robert, okay, so...
Because she didn't clarify, because I caught her about 2 times where you had said to her, you had these things towed, and she didn't correct you. I don't believe that she had nothing to do.
For different reasons.
Yeah.
And
that may be the case. I think they're here suing the wrong plaintiff.
I think the sister did it, to be quite frank. She was trying to reach out to her nephew, and then coincidentally, all of a sudden, these items are towed. When she's trying to sell it, she's trying to get her nephew to move it. I think she had it towed.
I'm going to rest it on the fact that we don't have jurisdiction.
Judge Corriero and I agree that this is an issue that needs to be decided in a court that clearly has pending litigation.
We all agree.
We all agree
It should
that we
be
need to dismiss.
dismissed.
Case
Yes.
dismissed.
All right.